All right, Great North Run. Let's talk Great North Run. Let's go to the roads here for a moment, Gordon. This was live on FloTrack. You can see the archive of the race. Helen Obiri wins the women's title. On the men's side of things, it was Marc Scott outlasting Edward Cheserek with Galen Rupp in third. 101.22 for Marc Scott, 9 seconds over Ches. Rupp was back. Rupp was battling with that second group and ultimately finishes 20 seconds back in 101.52. What did you think? I mean, we had Scott. This was his third half marathon, come off a track season where he showed a lot of promise early on, then got banged up. Cheserek hasn't been competing as much. This was his debut, and then you have Rupp tuning up for a full marathon. So 3 people in the top 3 spots coming from all different angles in terms of preparation and their season thus far.
Yeah, I mean, Scott winning makes sense. He has the most kind of experience compared to Cheserek, obviously, and also being on, in his home country, it's a little more motivation. You kind of you get up for that. Look, he's like cheering on the crowd as he come down the home stretch. He wanted to do well here. So Scott winning makes sense. I was very impressed with Cheserek. This is his half marathon debut. 61 something is a pretty good starting point for him. And it gets me really excited to see, all right, when is he going to do his marathon and what type of marathoner can he become? So I'm excited for that. And then Rupp, obviously, he's coming off the Olympics. So it's not really expected for him to be throwing down anything crazy like a 60 or 59 or anything like that. He's just trying to get his body right in a quick turnaround for Chicago. When I talked to the coach Mike Smith told me, he was like, yeah, he's just trying to get another race in his legs, kind of get the Olympics out of the legs and get a new race in it, and kind of get ready for Chicago. You can't just go cold turkey into another marathon. You got to have a race or two in between.
Mm-hmm. And he managed to beat Smith, who was wearing salmon-colored shorts. So for Rupp, you want to make sure you hold the line. Don't let anybody with salmon-colored shorts beat you. I thought Scott. Yeah, sure.
That's a question. How do you think this photo right here originated? Like, how do you think they got these 3 guys to put their hands up like that? Like, who do you think? It seems like a very awkward photo of the athletes putting their hands up, like in a victory form. I don't know. This is kind of random to you?
Yeah. So for those of you who are listening and not watching, there's a finish line shot of the 3. Marc Scott's in the middle. His arms are at a 90-degree angle with the number 1 finger up. You have Rupp, his hands straight up and clenched fists, so they're all the way above his head. And then you have Cheserek, similar to Rupp, but elbows a little bit bent, so they don't really look in unison at all. Here's what I think happened. Someone was a photographer or somebody else was yelling what to do at them. And they're like, hey, put your hands up, put your hands up, put your hands up. And then this is the end result. Because that's what happens a lot of time. Photographers or media personnel at the finish line want to create these shots, and this is what you get. This does look extremely awkward. Also, you can tell the difference between the people who are used to running on the road versus people used to running on the track in the way they celebrate. Because Marc Scott, if you watch that finish, he did like 3 different cycles of a celebration because I don't think he knew how close he was to the actual finish line. Whereas if he's at the track, he knows, okay, I'll just pump do one last look with 50 meters, then pump my fist and go across. He just kept going through. He was like asking for more noise, and he's pumping his fist, and he's doing that. And then he's like, wait a minute, I'm still going? Okay, guess I got to do that thing again. Wait, Cheserek's not going to catch me, is he? All right, let me just pump my fist one more time, and then he goes across the line. A little more seasoning on the road, and he'll just be like Kipchoge. He'll just do that, a couple fist pumps, and then fly across the finish line, and he'll be all good. Serious question though on Ches before we move on. What's his best event? What's his future?
I mean, you have to. I don't know what his best event is yet because you never know what a marathon's going to do to someone. It could be the best thing that ever happened to them or the worst thing that they've ever done to themselves. So, I'm just excited for he's going to do it eventually, and you just want to know, like, is he going to be like a 210 guy, or can he find a way to be like a 206, 205 guy? And you're like, whoa, I didn't, because he has talent. We've seen what he did at all of his Oregon days. He's able to run. He has a fast 5K and 10K to his name, but he just
349
hasn't
mile.
had. Yeah, obviously the mile. You just have to see. You just want to see. I think he's kind of in love with the track, right? And you kind of want to use up all of your years of track capability first before you bother going to the roads. But with Ches, the way his post collegiate career worked out, with not really having the citizenship thing figured out, whether he was going to compete for Kenya or US,
Hmm.
that kind of pushed back his track opportunities. And then obviously pandemic pushed it back for everyone. I think maybe he's probably having a moment like, hey, maybe I should think about the marathon more seriously and
Hmm.
look at that as a new way to kind of reset my career as a post collegiate athlete of like, all right, new challenge. Maybe this is the place where I can thrive the way I was thriving in the NCAA level.
He was good at everything because you think of him, oh wow, he wins all these NCAA cross country titles, but then you remember what he did in the
In
mile
the
in
mile,
college
yeah.
too. And then in that 2018 season where he ran the 349 mile, he also ripped off a really good 3K. And you're like, all right, well this is going to be his best race. But now you look and he's 27 and his PB in the 5K is 13:04 and you're thinking, all right, well 13:04 isn't what it used to. And then you're looking at these Olympic finals filled with former NCAA guys and you're thinking, okay, well he could be in there with these
Yeah.
guys, Fisher, right? Fisher, McDonald, guys like
Becker.
that,
Yeah.
Justin Knight, just like, and you just wonder, okay, when is that race going to come? And you're right, he's had to deal with obstacles that those other athletes haven't had to deal with, which has certainly impacted him greatly. But he has the talent to be there. I think at this point, it's just finding the right event. So those 1,500 mile times, the outdoor ones are a bit misleading because he has the 349 from BU indoors, which is what really sets him apart or really shows his true ability was those indoor marks, right? In the 738 indoor, I remember that one. That was that stretch where he was just uh, on absolute fire as a professional runner. I wonder where it's going to come from because listen, not everybody is Sifan Hassan and has this crazy range, but if you're trying to search for an event, okay, what is it? I mean, running 349 in the mile and then doing a half marathon as well as he did here too, you're thinking, all right, well, there's got to be something, right?
Yeah.
There's got to be something. Eventually, you got to choose one thing because I don't think any pro runner wants to be. They would trade being top 10 or top 15 in a lot of events for being top 3 in one event because
Yeah.
that's